Welcome to Allies or Enemies. Today we're looking at Arcs, a 2 to 4 player game designed by Wehrle. Arcs is Leader Games' first foray into outer space, and it combines a bit of dice chucking, some area control, a lot of card and resource management, and a kind of trick-taking-esque action selection system. There is a lot going on here, so before we get too deep, let's look at how it plays.
You start the game with a few ships, cities, and starports scattered around the galaxy, as well as a couple of resources and a hand of cards. If you have the initiative, you play any card you want and take the kinds and numbers of actions on that card. These include taxing loyal regions for resources, building new stuff, moving your ships, repairing damages, influencing guild cards with agents, securing cards that you've got the most agents on, and battling. You can also choose an ambition, which is an end of round scoring category. If you are following, you play any card to take only one action, and optionally play a second card face down to steal the initiative. Or you can play a higher card of the same suit to steal the initiative and do your full amount of actions. After all cards have been played, you score the chosen ambition categories for stuff like battle trophies, prisoners, or having the most resources, and then you deal new cards and do it all again. The game ends once one player has crossed the point goal for your player count, or you have finished 5 rounds. And then whoever has the most points is the ruler of the galaxy.
We are just talking about the base game here with its 2 built-in MIDI modules, so we won't be touching on the campaign expansion or any other stuff that is out there. But even with just the base game, there is a lot of inherent replayability that naturally comes from this kind of game. The battles offer some interesting choices with 3 levels of dice that range from safe but weak to powerful but possibly self-destructive, which makes the battles feel bigger than a single dice roll should. There are also variable setups, which changes things, as well as a big deck of guild cards, which you can gain through placing agents, and these act as both resources and powers that often come with the agonizing decision of whether to spend them for one-off abilities. And then there are the ambitions, which are end-of-round goals, which are chosen by players and will focus each round in different directions. And if you want an extra layer of variability, you can add the leaders and lore modules, which add a pre-game draft of cards that give you ongoing powers throughout the game. And these are cool, especially the leaders, which have both a plus and a minus, although it should be noted that some feel quite a bit stronger than others.
The components are pretty solid across the board. Kyle Ferrin's art has always been a staple of Leader games, and his slightly off-kilter style is on display here again, which is a plus for us as we've always enjoyed it. The wooden stuff is good too, with the agents and the ships, which are kind of a weird style space battleship, which is an interesting take on the genre. Also, the resources and cards are all decent. The one slight tricky here is on the board, as the resource icons often get covered by armadas and the wedge colors were a bit too similar for us to get down. That, and there are a few little half-space barriers that aren't quite barriers that confused us at first. Neither of those are deal breakers, however, and in general, if you enjoy the look of Leader's other games, you're going to enjoy their take on outer space.
We are focusing this review on the 2-player experience of Arcs, and we are happy to say it does work at that count. Leader has not always been the best publisher for 2-player games, as you will know if you played games like Root or Vast, but Arcs is certainly more 2-player friendly than those. That said, it probably still shines a bit more with an extra army or 2 trying to fight for space, to grab those guild cards, and compete for end-of-round ambitions. At 2 players, you don't have the natural teaming up that happens at higher counts to catch a runaway leader. There are a few changes that help the two-player experience, however, as you black out a few regions, add resources to a few ambitions to create a bit of competition, and, most importantly, whoever goes second has the option to discard their hand and grab a new one, which is an interesting decision as it can provide a lot of information about what the first player is holding. In the end, it is an interesting head-to-head battle that works better for two than most area control games, but it is still one that you will likely get a bit more out of at higher counts.
Arx has been taking the gaming world by storm, and we can see why. It does bring something slightly different to the area control genre between the ambition round end goals, the dice-based battle system that lets you choose your risk level, and the trick-taking-esque action selection system. But it is this last part that may also be a bit of a barrier for some players. Things can feel rough when you get stuck following and have 2 or even 3 fewer actions than your opponent for extended stretches, especially at 2 players. And burning a card to take the initiative can feel like a big cost. As you play more, you'll figure out the metagame and be able to mitigate a bit better, and the 2-player hand mulligan definitely helps. And we have had both tight games and big comebacks, so all is not always lost. In the end, if you generally enjoy leader games or area control games, you should definitely have a play to see how this fits. And if you are the sort of person who really likes to commit to a game, there's a lot of depth and strategy here. But it is worth giving a heads up to players who plan on playing a bit more casually that the card system can feel swingy at times. But either way, there are certainly some interesting things going on, and if you have the opportunity, this is well worth a look. And that is it. Have you played Arx? What did you think? And what is your favorite from leader games so far? Please let us know in the comments, and please also like and subscribe, and hopefully we will see you all next time for another game.